Good evening, everybody. Ed Hiscock with Trinity Health, and I'm going to pause for a little dramatic interlude here. So the gentleman I'm going to introduce is probably freaking out a little bit about what story is he going to tell. Is it going to be the one about the 2 bottles of wine? Or that other one? Maybe that trip to the island. So, needless to say, I have the pleasure of, I have notes. I have the pleasure of introducing a gentleman that I've known for many years. And I think I'll go with the wine story. I think it was a test, actually. So I was trying to recruit this fella to come into a business that I owned. And he said, very good, I'm coming to your neck of the woods, so I'm coming to his neck of the woods, which is Georgia. But it's that little Italian section of Georgia. There is such a thing, right? Well, there is now. That Jersey section of Georgia. But this individual said, I'll meet you at this restaurant. That's all the direction he gave me. Well, fortunately, it wasn't that many years ago. I could find directions to the place, and I thought, oh, this was a test, because it was a bring your own. So I show up with my bottle of wine in a paper bag. So does he. So the first test was that I knew that this was a bring your own, and I was bringing a bottle of wine for our dinner. The second test was we had to finish both of those before the evening was done. There was just the two of us. So we had, needless to say, we hit it off pretty well that evening. I don't remember what we talked about, but it was profound, I'm sure. But in all seriousness, Mr. Nick Toscano is the individual that we're going to recognize this evening. And quick show of hands, how many people have worked for and served a provider organization? How many have worked for and served a GPO? How about those that have worked for and served a wholesaler, pharmacy wholesaler? Okay. How about a consultant? Very good. Now, who has served all four? Mr. Toscano. So it's not that he can't keep a job, but Nick has done some amazing things in his career. And if I wanted to go on, if there were half a dozen hands that went up for all four of those things, a couple of the other things I would have said, who was one of the first to open a self-distribution capability for a provider in the industry? Nick's hand would have went up. And what's vogue right now, this clinically driven supply chain? Anybody hear people talking about that today? What was that, 1982 when you did that, thereabouts? And what about this Lean Six Sigma thing that we hear about these days? When did you and Jeff Immelt sit down and bring Six Sigma into the provider sector for Virtua? Like the 20s or something? Yeah, it was also the 80s. So, needless to say, I could go on and on, but I think you get the sense. Nick has worn many hats in this industry, served many in the industry, always, and I can attest to, always with a focus on those whom we serve, our patients, and those who serve our patients, and has accomplished some pretty miraculous things. You can read his bio, but it is my pleasure to introduce Nick Toscano and bring him into the Bellwether League.
Good morning. Only kidding. Well, first of all, I want to thank my God, my Almighty God, for the opportunity to allow me to stand here in front of you today. Also, I want to thank my beautiful wife, Sharon, who is here with me tonight. She's also my business partner, and without her, none of this would happen. Also, my beautiful daughter, Margie, is here, my firstborn. Thank you, Margie. And my not-so-beautiful son-in-law is sitting over there as well. No, I often say, if I had to pick a guy to marry my firstborn daughter, would have been that guy. He's a great guy. I also want to thank my children who are not here tonight. People often ask me why I haven't retired yet, and I'll tell you why. I just got some texts here, one from Auburn University, one from Clemson University, one from the University of Delaware, and so on and so on. So I'm still here. I also want to congratulate my fellow classmates for this honor. I am very, very touched to hear all the stories tonight and to share this evening with all of you. Well deserved. Thank you. I also want to say God bless to Patrick Carroll and his family. I didn't know Patrick very well, but I had the occasion to talk with him and visit with him. He was a great leader, very much a giver. You could ask him anything. There was no dumb questions with Patrick. He would share his wisdom, his knowledge, and experiences with anyone. He was truly a genuine person and a very good man, and we will miss him. Thank you to the Bellwether Board for this honor. I am extremely humbled by this recognition, especially when it comes from your peers. But respectfully, this is not all about Nick. There are so many people that I've worked with over the years that allowed me to be here with you this evening. I want to share this honor with them as well. Too many to mention. We'll be here for quite a while. But I had some great co-workers, mentors, friends, some of which are in this audience tonight, folks from all levels and all positions within healthcare and also outside of healthcare. I had the honor and the privilege to work with some CEOs that allowed me to do what I did, and I thank them very much. Some of you know that I worked with GE very early on around strategic relationships. And I had the fortune to meet Jack Welch on a one-on-one meeting. Of course, I was nervous and, couldn't find the words, but he was very gracious and a regular guy. And he told me one thing that stuck with me for a long time. He says, before you become a true leader, you will look at success as it's all about you. You want to be a true leader. You want to advance, and you want to grow yourself. When you become that leader, your success will be all about growing others. And that's been a mantra of mine for quite a while here in this business. I'm very proud to tell you today that many of my colleagues and teammates are leaders in their own right, in large health systems and medium health systems, and I am very proud of that. Perhaps one day, one of them will be up here, I hope. I've been blessed to work with many organizations who've given me opportunities to learn and to grow. One significant event in my life, back in the mid-'70s, is when I had the privilege of reading essays and learnings from a work of a person by the name of Robert Greenleaf, a former executive of AT&T. Robert is considered the father of servant leadership. And I read and I learned and I really felt strongly about adopting that leadership philosophy for myself. believing that its values and guiding principles were totally aligned with effective leadership in our business. And I'm glad I did. So I began living it every day, putting the needs of others first, sharing my power and empowering others, supporting all that I worked with to perform at their highest level, continuing to learn from others at all levels, and listening, and listening. Also, I had the privilege of working with one of the finest people in healthcare. Some of you may know this person. His name is George Lynn. George was the CEO of Atlanticare in New Jersey, and he was my boss. He also became the chairman of the American Hospital Association. Among the many things George said to me, one that struck me and still does today, he said, "Nick, visionary leaders will know the difference between doing things right and doing the right thing." Well, I thought about that, and I cherish that advice and guidance in allowing me the leadership skills and courage to first embrace change, drive continuous improvement, and innovate. I've also reminded by George on a regular basis that you have to learn your leadership position every day. In closing, please allow me one more minute to thank two special people in my life, not simply in my career. One of those folks share this stage with me, and there's that man, Nick Gage. As we call each other, Brother Nick. This is my brother Nick, this is my brother Nick. Yeah, you remember that. I consider among the best minds and gifted leaders in healthcare. In addition, a person of high integrity and values that I will trust with my life. Thank you, bro. Also, my friend and former business partner, Ed Hitchcock. Ed is among the true innovators in our business, although he's very humble about that. A person of high integrity who's always willing and able to share his knowledge and expertise, as we've learned from other folks tonight. Thank you, my friend. Where are you? Thank you all very much. I am very, very blown away with this. I'm still trying to figure out if I drank too much wine and I'm in a dream somewhere or something. But thank you very much. Have a good evening and God bless.